All right, y'all. Thank you for coming to what we call now noon recharge. Today is stress, reset, and stretch. So we are stretching for 30 minutes, and then we'll do a meditation for 15. And so you'll need all the things if you're staying the whole time. So a couple of blocks, um, a bolster, and a strap. All right, we are going to start on our backs because I know that you all have a need to open up. I know you've been probably sitting today. So we are going to take just a little bit of time to breathe. But know that we have 15 minutes of meditation coming up shortly. So we won't spend a whole lot of time here. But take some time now to first acknowledge yourself for showing up on your mat today. I know how hard it is to step away. And then bring your full focus to a 360 breath, a breath that moves all the way around. And you may even want to place one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly to feel the breath moving down. Let your next couple of breaths be full. So a big breath in, a big exhale out, either out through the nose or out through the mouth, you choose. All right, and then let's start here by stretching long. Fingertips and toes reaching in opposite directions. Bring your knees into your chest, wrapping your arms around your legs. Maybe here you draw your nose up to your knees and stretch out through your spine. Let your head relax back to the mat and find movement here that feels good. Maybe a little rock from side to side or draw circles on the ceiling with your knees. All right, we'll start off with a little spinal mobility. So we'll start here with that right knee hugged in. Extend your left leg back out onto your mat. Hug the knee in nice and tight. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale out, and then we'll slowly bring this knee across the body for a twist. So the left hand guides your right knee across, the right arm goes out to the side for support. Good, bring the knee back into center, extend your right leg long, hug your left knee in. Pause here for a breath, taking a deep breath in. Big exhale out, and then we gently guide the knee across the body for a twist. Good, the knee comes back to center. Extend your left leg long, extend your arms up overhead, and you can either keep your arms straight or you could cradle your elbows above your head. But we'll begin to walk our feet and our arms over to the left side. It's actually your upper body that you'll move to the left and the legs that you'll move to the left. Think here of a banana shape or a parenthesis shape. The goal here is to stretch a little through the right side of the body. If you'd like a little more for your right hip, cross your right ankle over your left. Good, we'll slowly do that to the other side. So walking the arms and the legs over to the right. Breathe through the left side of your body. Feel that nice long stretch. Maybe left ankle crosses the right. Good. Come back to center. Extend your arms up again if they're not there already. And with this extension up of the arm and the legs reaching in opposite directions, see if you can add a little extra arch through the lower back. And then let's bring the knees back into the chest and really hug them in and feel that stretch through the lower part of the back. We'll do that one more time. So stretch out long. Add that little extra arch through the lower part of the back, feeling more space under that lower part. And then we bring the knees back into the chest, rounding out through the spine. Again, you can draw your nose up to your knees if you really want to find that full rounding. All right, and then we are rock and rolling up to seated. So we'll be in a seated position for a bit. So if you would like to sit up on a bolster or a block, feel free to do that. We're going to stretch a little through the neck here. So finding the most comfortable seated position for yourself. Let's drop the right ear to the right shoulder. And then this left arm, you could bring it behind your back if you'd like, or you could send the left arm out to the side, just finding what feels right here. Your right hand, you could do a little massage, bringing that right hand up and just hitting some key pressure points or finding anything that feels really good on this side. Good. And then release if you're doing anything with the hand. And let's make one change. Drop your chin toward your shoulder. The stretch hopefully moves a little further back in the neck. That's a muscle that actually becomes pretty tight with a head position that's forward. All right, and then we slowly bring the head back up to center. We'll do the same thing other side. So you're dropping your left ear to your left shoulder. This right arm can go behind your back or go out to the side. Whatever feels right here. And then you'll maybe take that left hand and give yourself a little massage. That is completely optional. You're giving yourself that massage. Release your arm and angle your chin toward your shoulder. Good. Bring the head back up to center. We'll do one last thing for the neck here. Tuck your chin into your chest and try to find some length through the back of the neck. If you'd like to add a little bit more to this stretch, clasp your fingers together, bring the palms to the back of the head, and just let your arms rest alongside the head. So this isn't a pull, it's adding a little extra weight to the stretch. Good. We slowly bring the head back up to center. All right, let's do a little for hips here, and then we're going to move on to a little shoulder opening. So if you'll walk the fingertips out in front, you can stay center. You could walk your hands to one side and then to the other. We are going to hang out here for just a couple more breaths, and then we'll do this again very shortly with the opposite leg position. All right, walk your hands back in. Let's switch the position of the legs. Your opposite leg will be in front. And then let's take the left arm across the body. and you'll bring that right arm in a position above the elbow that can allow for a little bit more of a stretch. Now, let's add a little bit to this. So I want you to push your left arm into your right arm. So you're finding a little bit here for stretch, but also a little bit of activation of those muscles. So hopefully you're feeling that. Good. Let's switch to the other side. So that opposite arm comes across. You're adding a little bit of assist right above that elbow. And now you're pushing arms into each other. Good. And then let's release that. Let's walk those fingertips out in front here. Again, we'll stay here a couple of breaths, so any movement that you'd like to find, feel free to do that. Hands to one side, hands to the other, staying center, your choice. Good. We'll walk the hands back in. All right, so we are going to switch the position of the legs, but I want to give you the option to stay here if you prefer. Grab your strap and let me show you this option of sitting back onto your heels. Getting a little too aggressive. My knee is giving me some trouble and got a little excited there going onto my knees. All right, so if you want to sit back here onto your heels, this will stretch through the front of the legs. So we'll just use that as an option. Just stay in a seated position if you prefer. We are going to do one more thing for shoulders here, and then we actually will focus mostly on opening through the front of the shoulders for the remainder of class with some other things included. All right, so your hands are pretty wide on that strap. We're going to inhale the arms up. You'll exhale back to where you feel a stretch. So if it feels pretty intense, give yourself more space between your hands. Good, try to keep your head up. Good, and just breathe here. Feel free to close your eyes. Our intent is to stretch through the front of the shoulders, so the pectorals right here, that pec minor, hopefully incorporated a little bit here. Good, and then bring your arms back down. We'll do that one more time. We'll add on just a little bit to that. So adjust your hands if you need to. We flow up, we flow back, and then you decide here if you keep your arms straight or if you add a little bend to one elbow. That'll get a little bit more into, if you're keeping that opposite arm straight, a little bit more side shoulder, maybe a little more into that tricep. You can just stay center too, if you'd like. We'll take one more deep breath in and out here. And then let's gently release. Good. You can move that strap off to the side. And we are going to make our way to a tabletop position. So we're on hands and knees. All right. Hands are underneath shoulders, knees are underneath hips. We'll move through a standard cat and cow. We'll start with cow. So inhaling, tailbone up, chin up. Exhaling, rounding out through the spine for cat. Now, I'm going to let you continue at your own pace, but let me give you one option here to do a little stretch through the feet as well at the same time. You could curl your toes under, and that adds just a little bit of a stretch. We're actually going to do a little more for the feet very shortly, but if you'd like to incorporate that here, feel free to do that. So you're flowing at your pace, moving with your breath. Now, the next time you find yourself in a cat pose, just stay right here, pushing through the hands, rounding out through the spine, letting your head relax here. All right, very gently, curl your toes under if you don't have your toes curled under right now. And then very gently, we're going to let our bottom travel back toward the heels. Now, if you're tight through the knees, doesn't feel good on your knees at all, we can actually change things up. So you guys decide here. Trying to get a stretch through the arch of the foot. Do y'all feel that? Good. Breathe one more breath here. Good. Let your feet relax and maybe even tap out the tops of the feet. And then let's send the hips back to the heels. Stretch the arms out in front for child's pose. Good. Come back up to tabletop. From your tabletop position, step your right foot forward. All right, you'll be in your lunge now. You may want to grab your blocks and place them around the front of your mat. Okay. You also may, so you can keep that back knee to the mat if you'd like. You could lift that back knee up off the mat. You may find you get a little bit more hip flexor with the knee off the mat, but there are ways to find, that's the intent here, by the way, is to stretch through the front of the back hip. So what needs to happen in order for you to feel that? Do you need to lunge a little more deeply? Do you want to come a little more upright and then just letting the hips sink forward a little bit here? Whatever you need to do to feel that front of the left hip stretch. Good. We breathe one more full breath here and then we'll meet up. All right, we are going to meet up with both legs in 90-degree shape. So you might need to shimmy that left knee in a little bit. Your knee and ankle are aligned here. Your hip and knee are aligned on that back leg. So as you come up, try to pull that right foot back and that left hip forward to find that activation. All right, let's do a little more for shoulders. We're sending the arms up and around, trying to find that full range of motion here. So go as slowly as you need to really feel all that's going on through the shoulders. And then the next time the arms come up and around, we'll find 90-degree shapes here, letting the elbows travel back just a little bit so that, again, you feel the front of the shoulder stretch. We aren't flaring out through the rib cage here, so tuck the rib cage in, find your core strength, and make this be about the shoulder opening, that engagement through the legs. Let your hands rest back to the blocks or to the floor. We'll find a hamstring stretch. So we're going to shift. You might want to send this right foot back, or you can shift your weight forward. Let that left knee come back a little bit, and then you'll shift back. But a hamstring stretch is next. Yep, beautiful. So if you're tight through this hamstring, the back of the leg, give yourself a little extra bend in the knee, or you could elevate your body just a little bit more. Yeah, be gentle. Perfect. We shift our weight forward and we'll do one more last stretch for hips here. So lift that back knee up off the mat and do a quarter pivot to face the long edge of your mat. Your right knee stays bent. So now we've got this long left leg. Your right knee is bent. Inner thigh opener for your left leg is what hopefully you are feeling here. Good. So you can lift your left toes up off the mat if that allows for a little deeper stretch. Right knee is tracking in the same direction as your toes. You all got it. Beautiful. Hold here one more full breath. Good. Let's do our quarter pivot. You'll return to face the front end of your mat, and then you'll step your left foot in to join your right. You'll find a standing forward bend, and we are going to hang out here for a couple of breaths. So just let your upper body relax. Good. Your left foot will stay in place. The right foot steps back for a lunge. All right, so now we're focused here on the front of the right hip. So you find any position here to start things off for yourself that feels good, and then we'll meet up. So if you want to keep that back knee up off the mat, let the hip sink and try to find that hip flexor stretch in that way. Feel free, you can always drop that back knee down, but you are on your own here just to try and find the best stretch for you. Good. Now we meet up. So dropping that back knee down and finding these 90-degree shapes. Come on up. And from here, I'm gonna give myself a little extra padding under this knee. All right, and then from here, you'll bring your arms up. So you have 90-degree shapes. I'm gonna stay off this back knee. All right, and then from here, we're gonna actually do just some opening, going wide with the arms. So go wide here with the arms. Maybe you do a little rotation, just finding some movement from side to side or out to the side. Good, and then find your 90-degree shapes here. Again, you've got this opening through the front of the shoulders. Try to knit the ribs in, find that core strength to keep you stable here. Breathe one more full breath. Good, your hands land down around your left foot, and then we'll begin to shift our weight back to find our half splits. Good, take your time. Be gentle. Give yourself a little extra bend if you need to. Good, let's shift our weight forward. You'll return to left knee bent, and that back leg is up off the mat, or back knee is up off the mat. We do a quarter pivot to face the long edge of the mat to find an inner thigh stretch. All right, y'all, you are on your own for a little bit here. So if you'd like a little more inner thigh, maybe you begin to move from side to side. If you'd like a little more hamstring, maybe you stay center with this wide leg stance and angle your toes toward each other so that they're even a little pigeon-toed and you just hang out center. So you can either go side to side with the toes angled toward the corners of your mat, or wide leg standing forward bend with the toes angled forward. Yep, beautiful, y'all. A few more breaths here. If you're staying in that standing forward bend, give yourself a little rock from forward and back and just find where you feel a really good stretch through the back of the legs. So just notice if you have your weight a little more forward, how that feels versus if you have your weight back, versus if the feet have even distribution throughout. Good. All right, we are going to walk ourselves around to the front of the mat. You'll be in a lunge. We'll step the back foot in. We return to that standing forward bend, and we'll roll up one vertebra at a time. All right, we have just a couple things that we'll do standing, and then we'll return to the mat. This first one is a little for the side body and a little for the arm. So you're going to bring your right arm, we do the right arm up and over, and then you're kind of grabbing so that you've got this little bit of a tricep stretch. So the hand is to the bottom part of, or the top part of the arm. And then you'll actually bring yourself over to this left side. So it's a little extra here. If it's too much, you can find something else that feels good as you stretch over. Yeah, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Try to keep your weight evenly distributed through the feet here and hold one more breath. Good, and slowly come up and we'll release that. We'll do that same thing other side. So up and over. It's a little bit of gentle pressure as you draw the arm over, you draw the body over at the same time. Hopefully you feel something all along this left side. Good, and then let's slowly come up and release. All right, our last thing that we'll do here uses the strap again. And once again, we're gonna try and focus in on the front of the shoulders. So grabbing that strap behind you so you can choose. You could have the palms facing in toward the bottom, the palms facing out. Your feet are hip bone width apart, and we first are going to drop the knuckles toward the floor and try and open up through the front body as much as possible. Now, when we fold forward, which is what comes next, you have a couple of options. You could deeply bend your knees and let your body rest on your legs, or you could keep your legs a little straighter to get hamstring opening as well as shoulder opening. So fold yourself forward in a way that feels good for both, really for the shoulders, but also if you want for the legs. Keep a slight bend in your knees if you are doing the forward fold. Yep, beautiful. Let your head relax. Breathe one more breath. All right, let's slowly rise up. Good. All right, releasing your strap. All right, no fancy way to get there. We're going to find a seat. Have a seat on your mat. And we'll let the soles of the feet be about mat width apart. We'll just do a little windshield wiper of the knees from side to side. The next time the knees land over to this right side, we're actually going to turn our bodies around to face the back of the mat to find a twist. Beautiful. Come back to center. And let's just go up and over to the left side. We'll turn ourselves around toward the back of the mat. Good. Come back to center. All right. So that wraps up the stretch part of our class.